According to Onyeka Akuma, CEO of Farm Crowding Nigeria Limited, farmers should be equipped with the practical ways of farm operations in order to achieve better results. Thanks for joining us on today's episode of Agro Ontv, Nigeria's agricultural program. My name is Faith Esenwere. Today, as always, we've got interesting topics on our segment. You can be part of the show by sending your comments and suggestions to our streaming platforms showing on your screen. We'll be right back. Stay with us. The future of agriculture indeed lies in the hands of the youth. This has proven to be true as a 22-year-old Nigerian creates a tractor in Plateau State. Details of this and other news stories make up the pulse today.
History was made in Nigeria as Jerry Isaac Malo, a 22-year-old fabricator, created the first indigenous tractor in the country. Jerry, who was assisted by the Plateau State government upon news of his invention, brought to life the indigenous tractor, making it the first of its kind in the country.
We work on the quality of it in from the factory. Then we take we take registrations from the regulations of the Nigeria, the bodies, that's NIS, to supervise the qualities of our machineries. Then we also advertise to media to let people know about it, to tell people that it can actually do better than the imported ones. Actually, for this tractor, it's a heavy duty work, so we definitely have to use strong materials that will last, that will stand the test of time for its purpose. So it's not all the parts. Some parts are actually made from fiberglass, carbon fiber too, and most of the parts, the body parts are made from iron, which has the strength to withstand the work it's going to do. And at our stage, our capacity now, we can't manufacture some of the parts ourselves. So we are forced to buy the available parts and then shape them into the parts for the specific purposes that we want. We've received the support of wards from some organizations. They advise us on some decisions and some steps to take. We've also gotten some sort of loans from some microfinance banks, notably the Mogovol Microfinance Bank. We've also gotten some grants from the Plateau State Microfinance Bank too for the completion of this tractor.
Jerry, aside the tractor, has also developed several agricultural equipment, including harvesters, rice processor, potato processing equipment, amongst others.
The Vice-Chancellor of the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, Professor Olushola Oyewole, has called on the federal government to make available adequate research grants for the actualization of quality improved research. He made this statement at the 4th annual in-house review meeting of the Institute of Food Security, Environmental Research and Agricultural Research of the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, Ogun State. The VC, who was represented by the Director of the Institute, Professor Akinwumi Omotayo, said the event is aimed at reviewing the good practices employed in the world.
What we are saying is that, one, apart from mobilizing young people into that sector, we have an aging farm population, mobilizing more young people, introducing more technology, operating a more market-oriented kind of agricultural economy, and building resilience in the sector. These are a few of our aims.
Delivering a keynote address at the event on the theme Re-engineering Agricultural Practices for Economic Recovery, Professor Tunji Arukoyo, a consultant of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, emphasized the importance of seeing agriculture as a pivot to economic recovery.
So we are now putting emphasis also in line with global good practices on food and nutrition, value chain approach. He's a small-scale farmer, and we are shifting from farming as a subsistence, which is still most Nigerian small-scale farmers are doing. Oh, I'm farming because my family have been doing it for years, farming as a way of life. We are saying now that even on their small scales, we move them from subsistence to agribusiness. Think, making money. And you don't have to produce everything. If you produce what is in demand, you sell to buy what you need.
Malnutrition is an issue that requires immediate attention from all stakeholders in the country. Join my guest on Talk Time, Uduak Igbeka, Country Coordinator for Scaling Up Nutrition Network, as as she sheds more light on the activities of our organization in malnutrition. Okay, glad to have you on Talk Time. Today's segment of the program, basically, I have with me a very special guest as usual, but I'll let her do the introduction herself, all right? Good to have you on the program, ma.
Hi, thank you very much, and very good of you to have invited me. My name is Uduak Igbeka. I'm the National Coordinator for the Scaling Up Nutrition Business Network, convened by the Global Alliance for Improved Nutrition.
Okay, that's great. Good to have you on the show once again. Tell us basically what is SUN all about. What do you really do in your organization?
Right, so the SUN Business Network is part of a global movement, the Scaling Up Nutrition movement. And like we all know, Nigeria is one of the SUN countries. And within each SUN country, you have different networks set up to be able to implement the objectives of the Scaling Up Nutrition movement. And so the SUN Business Network is that platform where we engage with businesses to carry out activities that have positive impact on nutrition in Nigeria. Okay,
that's great. Now, talk about nutrition. There's reports have it that, of course, a good number of children out there actually are suffering from malnutrition. Now, how is your network? How are you working to address this issue of malnutrition in the country?
So we are hoping to use business as a driver for improved nutrition. Like you know, businesses across all the value chains you can have in Nigeria. You have business actors from agricultural sourcing for agricultural inputs, agricultural production, agri-logistics. Even the marketing and the sales of products is done by business. And so we're trying to see how we can use the business to educate consumers more about nutrition and to be able to provide or produce affordable, nutritious foods that the poorest of the poor can have access to.
Okay, that's a very laudable project. Now, are there challenges you've actually encountered while trying to carry out this objective? I would like to know.
Well, yes, this is the private sector we're talking about, and they're in the business of making money. So, making a business case for nutrition in a way that can be appreciated and understood by the private sector, it can be an uphill task. Because the rewards of investing in nutrition are not instant, you have long-term rewards for investing in nutrition or return on investment. Some businesses buy into it and others struggle to appreciate what it's all about.
Is the government partnering with you on this?
Absolutely. We work closely with government because the SUN Business Network is that platform where you can bring the private sector and government to communicate with each other. So we work closely with government to be able to transfer the knowledge of government policies to business, because sometimes these policies are developed without the private sector necessarily being involved. And so at the point where they're supposed to implement the policies, they struggle because their input wasn't sought in the first place. And so they did not have the opportunity to be able to educate the government on what their challenges would possibly be and what they require from government for them to be able to implement those policies. So this is the platform where we engage with both business and government to come together to address issues that mitigate the private sector from adequately contributing to improving the economy.
Now, I talk about policies. Are there policies that actually hinder you from actually doing what you set out to do?
Well, not at the moment, no. There are no policies that hinder what we're trying to do. Most Nigerian policies are developed in close collaboration with development partners. And so what we do is to try to see how we can support both government and the private sector on how best to implement those policies.
Okay, now we will, of course, the Feed Nigeria Summit actually just, is still ongoing. What, how do you think actually, or how do you think this summit will aid your network and also bring development in the agricultural sector in the country?
So I think this summit has created, to a large extent, an opportunity for people to be able to gain access to information, because we have noticed that to a large extent it's the lack of awareness that hinders some agri-businesses in doing what they are supposed to do. So this summit has brought key stakeholders together to discuss issues, to talk about what possible solutions will be, to get people aware of what is expected of the private sector and also of government especially in the homegrown school feeding program.
Okay, so anything else you want to say, maybe to, of course, your partners out there, or to the government, especially to help, effectively carry out your plan, of course?
Well, I convene the Sun Business Network, so most often I talk to business. What I would like to say is that to have sustainable improved nutrition in Nigeria, we cannot do it without the private sector, because most development partners projects are finite. Projects have definite end dates. Now, who carries on whatever initiative it is to the next level? It has to be the private sector. The private sector is one sector that has the expertise in putting sustainable strategies in place to sustainably engage in activities that have positive impact in nutrition.
All right. So that's basically a good message to everyone out there.
The private sector cannot be ignored in our fight against malnutrition in Nigeria.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time, basically. All right, that's much we can take on Talk Time. Like we've said, like she said, basically, the private sector is actually very important in agri sector. So Agro Ontv continues. Stay with us. There is need to assist farmers in the country, especially with land clearing, so as to achieve massive production in the country. My guest today on Agro Style is Honorable James Amboa, Commissioner for Agriculture, Benue State. Take a look.
My name is Honorable James Amboa. I'm Commissioner for Agriculture and Natural Resources, Benue State. When I assumed office here as Commissioner for Agriculture, over the years, agriculture has been relegated. Benue State was not an exception, and there was no agri policy in this ministry. So to kickstart the program, I started by initiating an agri policy by bringing on board some very eminent agri specialists who came together to develop a document for us, an action document, which we are now planning to transform that document into an agri policy document, which is the process is still on. That is the first action we begin in this ministry. And before now, production capacity in this state was very low, was at the low end. Virtually everything consumable was imported, to the extent that the Benue State that we used to know to be the food basket of the nation was more depending on other state or foreign goods. What we could produce here were rather being imported from other countries or being lifted from other states. So quite a shame. And then we quickly swing into action to try to correct that wrong impression or abnormality by putting the right machineries in place. The origin of food basket of the nation is not that Benue State just slept one day and said we are the food basket of the nation. I earlier mentioned to you that Benue State has the land in Benue State is quite fertile that can grow anything, and we have land that can compete and we can produce every product in a large commercial quantity. Talk about soybean production. We are the leading producer of soybeans, the quality type in the state. Talk about yam production. Benue is known for high production of yam. Talk about cassava production. In the whole of Africa, Benue is #1 in cassava production. Talk about rice production. Benue is among the leading states in the production of rice. Talk about sesame seed. We lead in sesame production. No state come near to Benue. Talk about sorghum. Until recently, our people had no interest. Now that interest, there is a shift in the agriculture. You will see out next year, Benue will be leading in sorghum production. Talk about sweet potato. Benue State is a leading producer of sorghum production. When you come to citrus, our mango is the best. Our oranges are the best. Our pawpaw is the best. When you come above the livestock department, that is why we have the farmers' headers crisis, because the grass that is being grown in Benue State has the capacity and is more nutritious than any grass you can find around in Nigeria. So if you put all those factors together, it's a state that you can happily qualify as the food basket of the nation, even though there will be some challenges. I told you from ab initio that the challenge, number one, could be that the processing facilities may not be there. Number two, the marketing facilities may not be there. Number three, some encouragements, incentive may not be there. But if we put everything together, you see our farmers are more sensitive, are more active, are more reactive to every encouragement that you may give them. Already there is a processing factory ongoing. It's about 95 completion in Katsina. And another one is about 25 to 30% ongoing in Zakibiam. And we also encourage well-meaning individuals to set up these processing factories, and there are a lot of efforts towards this direction, and we hope that within the near future there will be a lot of yam processing facilities in Zakibiam. The state has a comparative advantage in soybeans, granite. You can see soybean factories all over granite. Zakibiam side is also leading in the production of granite. The granite pillar means that we lose in Zakibiam, in Kano, can also be raised in Zakibiam side, because we produce granite in larger quantity at a very serious. In fact, it is even the granite in Zakibiam that hitherto been taken to Kano and contribute in making the pyramid to a very large extent. And apart from the other efforts, I told you that the state government is making efforts in the yam processing factory in Katsina, another one in Zakibiam, other where the individuals who are putting some good efforts in place. The Export Promotion Council has also nominated a Benue son who is doing a very great job in the exportation of yam, raw yam. And there are some other merchants who are exporting Zakibiam yam, the Benue yam, which is taking over, gradually taking over the Ghanaian yams in the UK and in America. If you go to UK now, Zakibiam is favorably taking over the Ghanaian yams in UK. Is what I know of. That of UK I know very well, and in America, our yam is being exported there in large quantity. You know, even the Ghanaian yam, you know, there was a trick. Our Igbo merchant, because of some export equivalences, they export this yam to the neighboring country and label it under Ghanaian embrace and export it. It was still Benue and Zakibiam yam. But when we got to know about the tricks, why don't we take the bull by our hands? Our people, our merchants are now exporting the yam. The only thing is harvesting. We have now train our people in post-harvest management, which they are harvesting the yam in the good international standard. And now they can export it to any country. If British could accept our yam, and America could also accept our yam, I wonder which part of the world we cannot sell the Benue yam. Well, many incentives are put over by this administration. One, the rolling out of so many facilities by both federal government and state government. These are efforts to encourage youth and women to participate in agriculture. Here in the state, we have such programs as Anchor Borrower Scheme, where farmers are made inputs. Other fund incentives are made available to women, youth, and everybody who wants to go into farm activities. And here in the state, the state governor had put in place 3 billion naira. The 3 billion naira is just for agricultural value chain production for both middle and small scale industry. The money is there domiciled for anybody who has a bankable idea, beginning from production to processing to even marketing at the consulting level to come out. But all this is in agricultural value chain. His Excellency, right from inception, noticed this problem and advocate for ranching. And ranching will be the only way to solve this problem. And all over the world, the best practice is ranching. If you go to America, go to Europe, and even in Africa here, go to South Africa, you see every farmers, anybody who goes into livestock farmers ranch his cattle. There is no issue of nomadic farming. Nowhere it is being practiced except Nigeria. And the best way to go, now that the population is growing and we have to go into crop production and animal rearing cannot go together, except you rear one and you also cultivate the other one, because both of them has their own, in fact they are competitive interests. Therefore, ranching is just the best way. And His Excellency immediately put a bill before the Assembly. And before the bill, this issue of herders and farmers crisis, His Excellency has been proactively putting in place some security measures to try and make sure that the crisis did not degenerate to out of proportion, which he has been managing the crisis. But once the bill is passed, we believe that this issue will be completely eliminated. And apart from that, you cannot ranch the cattle and not get anything to feed them. And because of that, today we flag off a very sound, innovative machinery that will be producing these animal feeds. And we are told that the capacity of this machine will be the production of about 40 metric tons of cassava pea per day. And so if you multiply this amount, we believe that the cattle being ranched in Benue State will not lack feeds. Well, what I want to tell the people of Benue State here is that we are yet approaching another cropping season, 2017, and this year is more promising than 2016. As they had it very soundly 2016, we expect to give them much more than what we gave them last year. We are promising that they will have a robust support from the state government by providing them with timely supply of farm inputs, fertilizer, herbicide, tractors, and what have you. We are also saying that they should focus on their farm activities. There should be no rancor between the farmers and Fulani herders, because this is mostly the time that there is always crisis to deter them from farming activities. If there is any crisis arising thereof, they should report to the adequate or the official security operatives rather than taking laws into their hands. The Benue State government is putting everything in place to ensure that farmers have a smooth operation this year. And we are determined to resuscitate agriculture and take our #1 position.
I feel the federal government of Nigeria should try and pump in more money. Though they've been trying, we've had so many campaigns and stuff about agriculture, but I feel them pumping in more money, monitoring the money, which is very, very important in the process, making sure that things are being delivered, stuff that will make agriculture more easy, like basic machinery, and providing more fertilizers for the crop to grow as fast as possible, and also providing seedlings to make sure the work is being done, and just making things easier.
There are facilities that they need to provide for the youth, that we attract them, like to provide materials for the farmer, for those tools, those things that we attract them. When you want to catch a baby, you need to use something to attract her. Or like you want to catch hen now, you throw the males for the hen, so the hen will come. So something good that we attract them, sweet them to do the farmer, government need to provide by the grace of God.
Agricultural sector needs to be more interactive. They have to have their programs on social media. Everybody's all over social media right now, and the federal government seems not to understand the fact that that's the only means you can use to get across to all the youths. It's as simple as that.
They can do so many things by investing in the agricultural sector, by providing equipment, tractors, modern equipment that we have, so that it will not just look like it's for the illiterates and for basically farmers. They can provide equipment, invest in agricultural fertilizers, things that will boost the agricultural sector.
Agriculture is not for the faint-hearted. It is for the people who are committed to the cause. This is up to the end of the program. Many thanks for watching. If you missed any part of the show, log on to Agro Nigeria TV on YouTube and find all our previous episodes there. Send your comments and suggestions to our social media platforms, and they'll be showcased on the program. Advertise your products and services here, and also contact us for the management of agricultural projects and events. Till I come here again next week, I remain Faith Esenwere. Think growth, think agriculture. Bye for now.